Excuse me, Ellie, may I have some white chocolate seltzer tonic?
What happened to my coffee?
Ew. Okay, new.
Good evening, everyone. Tonight's Moshiach Shiur, called a few sources. I'm going to start off with a shtickle Polish or Hasidus, and then I'm going to go into a nice Sikha, the Rebbe, where he's going to discuss the third Beis Hamikdash Shlishi. Who's going to be responsible for the rebuilding? Is it Hashem or is it man? Who's responsible for it? So to start off with a few sources. In the Pnei Menachem, in my Hasidic roots, very zeicha, he writes in Parshas Bereshis that Ruach Hashem merachefes al pnei adama. What is the Ruach that this pasuk is alluding to? This is the spirit of Mashiach. And Chazal say in Pesachim, Nun Dalid, 7 things endure forever. One of them is Mashiach's name. And another Inyan, we need to unify ourselves with our Torah learning, Lishma Yidei Torah learning, in order to unite ourselves with the Neshamis in Gan Eden, and by doing so, we unite ourselves with Hashem. This is a very important. Inyan. And Has v'Shalom, death and sickness, Toit and Krankheit, that occurs in the world is merely concealment of Getlichkeit. It's just concealment, nothing more than that. So we'll go into this is adapted from Likutei Sichos, 11th volume. So who's responsible for building the third Beis Hamikdash? Man or Hashem? A building of the heavens, or there's a classic difference of opinion between our rabbis regarding the construction of the third Beis Hamikdash. The Rambam states that the Beis Hamikdash will be built by man, more specifically by Mashiach. Indeed, its construction will be one of the signs of Mashiach's advent. Rashi, by contrast, explains that the Beis Hamikdash has already been constructed by Hashem and exists in the heavenly realms. We talk about Tzilus, but in Olam Asiyah, it hasn't been manifested. Waiting for the time it will descend to the earth. For the third Beis Hamikdash will be the sanctuary of Hashem established by your hands. When the setting within the world is appropriate, this heavenly structure will descend and become an actuality within our material world. Each of these views is based upon sources in the works of our sages. There is, however, a unique historical point which supports the Rambam's position. Our sages relate that in the era of Rabbi Yoshua ben Chanina, the Romans granted the Jews permission to rebuild the Beis Hamikdash. Joyous at the opportunity they were granted, our people rushed to begin the preparations for building, only to have the project thwarted by the intervention of the Samaritans. What is significant, however, is that they planned to build the Beis Hamikdash through their own efforts. They did not wait for it to descend from the heavens. So that's important. Yeah? There needs to be a shtadlus. Will we be worthy? Are we going to be zeicha? This account can, however, be reconciled with Rashi's view. To explain, our sages note the apparent contradiction between 2 verses describing the coming of Mashiach. One verse states, "Behold, like a son of man came on the clouds of heaven. It is, however, also written, your king will come like a poor man riding on a donkey." In resolution, our sages explain that if the Jews are found worthy, Mashiach will come in the clouds of heaven. If they do not merit, he will come like a poor man riding on a donkey. Similarly, in other contexts, our sages describe one course of the redemption for the redemption of the Eden. Its conduct is meritorious, and another, if Chas v'Shalom, such merits are lacking. In the present context as well, it can be explained that the ultimate conception of the Beis Hamikdash is a heavenly structure to descend from above. If, however, the Jews are not worthy of such a sanctuary, the Beis Hamikdash will still return the era of redemption. It will, however, be a structure built by man, not by Hashem. On this basis, we can also resolve the difficulty cited above. When the Romans granted the Jews the opportunity to rebuild the Beis Hamikdash, the people must have been somewhat disappointed that the Beis Hamikdash did not descend from heaven. Nevertheless, the realization that they had not been found worthy of a heavenly structure didn't dampen their enthusiasm for building a sanctuary to the fullest extent of their human potential. So now, concrete elucidation of Yehezkel's prophecies. Another possible resolution can be offered based on the Rambam's statement shortly after the beginning of the Hilchos Beis Bechira. The structure which Shloimeh built is already described in the book of Malachim. Similarly, the structure which will be constructed in the future era is described in the book of Yechezkel. Nevertheless, the description there is not explained or elucidated. Therefore, the people who constructed the second Beis Hamikdash in the time of Ezra built it according to the base design employed by Shlomo, incorporating the elements which were explicitly detailed by Yechezkel. It can be explained that Mashiach will lead the people in the construction of those dimensions of the Beis Hamikdash which can be grasped by human intellect. Afterwards, since the dimensions of Yehezkel's prophecies which we cannot comprehend will be left incomplete, they will be revealed from heaven by Hashem, when that which is hidden will emerge. Another approach to reconcile Rashi's views and that of the Rambam is based on our sages' interpretation that of the verse, "Her gates sank in the earth." Our sages relate that the gates of the Beis Hamikdash were fashioned at the order of King David. This endowed them with an internal invulnerability. When the Babylonians laid waste to the Beis Hamikdash, the gates will not be destroyed. Instead, they were swallowed by the earth. In the era of the redemption, the entire Beis Hamikdash will descend from the heavens with the exception of the gates, which will ascend from the earth. Mashiach will then connect to the gates of the Beis Hamikdash. Our sages explain that connecting the gates to a building is considered as equivalent to the construction of the entire edifice, adding divine perfection to human effort. Moreover, it can be explained that the two conceptions are in no way contradictory. Building the Beis Hamikdash is a mitzvah incumbent on Yidden. In the era of the redemption will become possible, when it will become possible to fulfill all the mitzvahs, so we will also be obligated to rebuild the Beis Hamikdash. Within that structure, which man will erect, however, will descend and include the sanctuary of Hashem, which is waiting in the heavens. Mankind is obligated to create a sanctuary for God within the context of our material world. After this is completed to the fullest extent of our human potential, the inner essence of the Beis Hamikdash will be revealed, that it is the sanctuary of God, possessing a dimension of perfection which utterly surpasses any possible work of mortal man. So may we be zeiche, and this is not. I'm borrowing this saying from Charlie Buttons that peace and love, Liebschaft and Frieden, and Sarang Hago, Pyonghwa in Korean, and may we be zoche to the rebuilding of the Beis Hamikdash Shlishi, takeoff from Yad Mamish.
Amen.